Hi, this is Ren,
This is Casey.
and today we're talking about Mr. Robot and True Detective.
Yeah, the two ongoing seasons that we've been watching. So our plan, I guess, is to sort of bookend it, our first impressions now, and then what we thought of it as a whole once both seasons are over.
Right. And we're going to separate it.
Yeah, so we'll do part of it's exclusively on one, part of it exclusively on another, and we'll put in the description, this is where we cut off, so you don't have to listen to something else or be spoiled or something.
Right. So we're going to spoil the first 2 episodes of both shows.
Mm-hmm.
And was there a particular show you wanted to start out with?
Let's start with True Detective, because True Detective was picking up from a series we've already been watching. Mr. Robot's brand new. So let's start with True Detective.
All right, so we both came into the first season of True Detective, and it really blew us away.
Yeah.
We really liked Matthew McConaughey, and we really liked Woody Harrelson, and we really would have liked to see them in the second season. Yeah. But also, what's different about this season compared to last season was written and directed by the same people for everything.
Yeah, one man did the writing and direction for the entire season, so it was his baby, and it all felt very cohesive and very much the same sort of feeling throughout the series. Or the season.
Well, it was a different writer.
Oh, sorry.
For each. It was Nick Pizzolatto, or I think I'm
But didn't they work with him? Or am I wrong? I thought he sort of co-wrote every script. I'm probably very wrong on that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sorry. We're wrong sometimes. So I'm sure we'll see something in the comments about that.
Or we'll put up an annotation.
Yeah, we'll put up an annotation.
But it was one solid vision throughout the season. Case in point.
Right. This time they picked a very new director. Mm-hmm. And it seems like he just had the connections to get to this. Like, you don't expect the director of the Fast and Furious, which is the 5th movie in the series.
It's the 5th one that specifically Justin Lin worked on, I believe.
Yeah, and his other film is 5, Torque.
I do believe, though, the Fast and Furious 5 is the most popular in the series for some reason. It's the one I've actually heard stuff about.
Okay, well...
But part of it, too, was the whole Wonder Woman controversy. That's part of the reason I know anything about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's...
That's a separate thing, though.
Right, but I really liked how True Detective was going to be one director for all the episodes, and then this second season decides to break that.
I'm happy with that, though, because if they had this season with the original director, I would have been ecstatic. But when...
Yeah, Cary Fukunaga.
Yeah, Cary Fukunaga, that's his name. But especially after I've seen these first 2 episodes, if you're telling me in 2 more episodes Justin Lin's direction's going to be gone, I'm just like, maybe that'll save the season a little bit. Although, I came in, I was so happy with True Detective last season. I was so freaking happy with it. And then the more and more I heard about the new season, every time I heard something new, expectations just plummeted drastically with every little bit. So, okay, Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are great freaking actors. Matthew McConaughey is one of those ones that sort of had to redeem himself, but he was respectable by the time he was on the show.
Right, he was hit or miss before, mm-hmm. and then he had a short period of really good films, mm-hmm. and then he did True Detective, which just stapled. He got away from the pretty boy actor, right. And then started doing serious stuff. I saw him in Mud. Thought he was absolutely fantastic in Mud. And yeah, he was great in True Detective.
But then we have this season where instead of Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, who by the way are executive producers this season, now we're replacing him with Vince Vaughn doing a dramatic role.
Well, we have...
Oh my god!
Well, Also, instead of replacing the 2-character dynamic, we have 4 actors now, and not people you would expect for any sort of clout. You have Vince Vaughn, who the only serious roles that he's been in that I can think of are Psycho, The Cell. And I'm sure there's another one.
I forgot about The Cell.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm sorry, I didn't look up his IMDb before.
But he's a comedic actor.
Yeah, he's a comedic actor. I liked him in Wedding Crashers. He's perfectly fine in comedy.
He is not Matthew McConaughey level, though. No freaking way.
Yeah.
Then you have Colin Farrell, who so far is the only character I even like a little bit. And he at least had In Bruges to work from for me, so I was like, okay, Colin Farrell, I'm with you on that. He can pull off the same sort of character type. Okay. Then you have the one that you didn't like, Taylor Kitsch. Or what's his name? Well,
yeah, he played fucking Gambit in the Wolverine movie. He was fucking terrible in that. He was in the fucking Lone Survivor movie, which I didn't fucking see. He was in the horrible John Carter movie. Yeah, so like this guy is box office poison.
Right. And it's just like that's the cast with that director for True Detective?
And it seriously feels like this entire season they're trying to redeem not only this actor but this director as well. Like it's just basically like HBO is like, "Hey, I know you're having a hard time, so here's this great show with some clout. Here you go." Like it seriously feels like somebody giving a handout to these fucking actors to say like, "Hey, here's a chance for you to redeem yourself," which doesn't work. And then
there's Rachel McAdams, who I'm just neutral. I don't feel anything towards her one way or another.
There's some interesting.
Terrible, but she's not fantastic either. She's not Jessica Chastain, who was in the running for a while. Oh my god! I'm sorry, but
hopefully they get her for next season.
Yeah. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I really hope that this season doesn't kill the show, because right now it feels like it's going to.
Yeah. And what I'm really pinning on Justin Lin for these first couple episodes is the serious just backlash in the direction where all of the scenes play out so slowly, but all of the dialogue is so fast. And it is very film noir sounding, except for nobody's really pulling it off because they're all modern actors.
Yeah. I just have to give a forewarning right now. There are fireworks outside, so I'm sorry if those pick up.
Yeah, we're filming on the 5th of July, but it's still 4th of July weekend, so nobody here really gives a shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I just thought I'd bring that up if anybody asks.
Yeah, that tone is killing this season for me because every episode feels so slow, but everyone's speaking so fast that there is no weight to anything anybody is fucking saying. I'm following it. I'm getting all the plot points. I'm not getting any character.
Right, and what's strange is I looked online and saw like what other people liked and disliked of the show, and like the one thing that I like, everybody else hates.
Colin Farrell?
No.
Oh.
The woman singing at the bar.
Nuh-uh, are you serious?
Yeah, people think it's cheesy. Like, and I actually...
They're being very unsubtle with her. I'll say that, but I'm fine with it because it's the only thing that really, besides the cinematographer, that really reminds me of the first season.
Well, it kind of has that Sin City vibe, too. You know, you have, instead of the woman stripping and stuff like that, you have...
The folk singer.
The folk singer, which... They should have used one of her songs for the fucking intro, because I remember the first season had an amazing intro song.
Dude, I'm just waiting for Logan from Gilmore Girls and his like college frat buddies to come in and start poking fun at the folk singer and throwing little paper spitballs at her. I kind of hope that happens in one scene, like they actually give her presence like some sort of conflict. That would be really funny, actually.
Or she becomes a character in the show.
That would be fun with me too. You know, I would have a character besides Colin Farrell that I give a little bit of a shit about.
Wait, was it the folk singer that saw Colin Farrell at the beginning?
No, she hasn't really
like
interacted.
the crackhead in the corner. Was that the same woman that was singing at the folk?
I don't know.
It might be.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah, but saw him when he put on the mask and then did the.
Oh,
I think it's possible that might be the same person. Mm-hmm. I'd need to look at it again.
Yeah, I like that scene though. I liked him doing that scene, but I kind of wish that they pushed that scene further. Like, okay, last year I thought that it was so fucking tragic that True Detective lost to Fargo, but in this scene, I wish they took a note from Fargo with the scene where he beats that dude up in his apartment building and all you see are the blinds. Like, I liked the blinds. I was with it. But that was it. It was cut off. I was just like, dude, can you give me a little bit more? Like, you gave me a half chub. Can you, like, finish me off a little bit?
Yeah, but overall, this season the pacing is slow and uninteresting. Mm-hmm. Like, there's very intentional slow, and this whole season, it doesn't really feel like True Detective. It feels like an imitation of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, but it looks like True Detective, though. I'll say that.
Yeah,
which doesn't work.
Right, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, Breaking Bad had deliberate pacing.
Right, I agree. And this season is trying to do that and not pulling it off.
No, it's just, it feels bland.
Yeah. And one thing, the reason why I say the fact that it looks like the first season is not working for it is because one thing that I loved about the first season growing up in the South was it felt so fucking rural. Like, it felt right. That is just like the feeling you get when you're in the very rural areas of the United States. And I thought it was really awesome. It added kind of a lot of mystery to it. Mm-hmm. And I really dug the shit out of it. This season is yuppie heaven, and I can't stand that shit. Like, that is something in my media I try to avoid. I don't like stories about really rich people. It's not interesting to me. And that's what this whole season is. It's people in Los Angeles, fucking high-rises and shit. And yeah, I know not everybody's well off, but that's what it's centered around. It's centered around either wanting that high-level status or having it and trying to maintain it. You know, that's sort of what the feeling of it is. So when you have the same look and art style that you were trying to portray Louisiana in LA, which, yes, I get LA and LA, but no, that's all they have in common are the initials. That's it. Nothing else fucking works.
I think one of the things that I think really makes this show weak right now is you have 4 characters and only one's pulling me slightly, and he's possibly dead in the second episode.
Yeah, he's either dead or he's incapacitated, so he can't be involved in the story as much.
Right, like Matthew McConaughey was in the end of True Detective Season 1.
Yeah. I keep wanting to call him Channing Tatum. Taylor Kitsch. Taylor Kitsch, at least, is somewhat interesting, mostly because I don't really quite know what's going on with him. I like that I don't really know.
Well, there's this thing where he fucked his mom, and then, yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah, so he fucked his mom at one point. There's,
It's either his mom or, like, he's kind of role-playing it. Sort of a deal.
You think so? No, I think
No, I'm saying it's one or the other. I'm pretty sure that's his mom, but it's possible that it's just his mama. But I'm pretty sure it's his mom.
Yeah, I think, given the fact that she's in a trailer park and...
You can have your old room. Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes with cougars, they're your mama. But I don't think that's what's going on.
I don't think...
I really don't think that's what's going on.
There's an Oedipal thing. And this season has a lot of weird stuff going on with sexuality that seems to be the theme of this season.
Yeah, and Rachel McAdams is a little unbearable for me. I'm just like, oh god, woman, really?
Well, you have the murders that happen, and it was like this sex-themed house or whatever. So that was like the first murder scene that you saw.
What makes no fucking sense to me is the very first time you see her, she's having a fight with her boyfriend because she wanted her boyfriend to have anal sex with her, and the boyfriend was taken off guard and it killed the mood for her. So she's adventurous and knows what she wants, but she's also really high-strung. But there is sort of a thing of like she's kind of sexually liberated kind of thing. Because anal sort of poses that if you're a woman. Okay, cool. On board with that. She's having casual sex with some dude and she wanted anal and he didn't know. Okay, I'm on board with that sort of mentality. And then the very next time we see her, she's saying, masturbating on a webcam as a cam girl, which is the safest form of any sort of, sexual solicitation that you can really have. That's literally as safe as you can humanly get. And no, that's porn, it's evil, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. And I know it was her sister, so that makes it personal, but it's just like, dude, woman, come on. Really?
I think... I'm not sure, but, like, let's face it, there are people that have weird things when it comes to sexuality. Like, they'll condone certain things, but then they're okay with certain things. Like, sexuality definitely is one of those things where people don't make sense oftentimes.
I know, but, like, webcam, come on.
Yeah, it's really fucking tame.
Well, it's tame, but it's safe. Nobody knows where you are. Nobody's touching you. Nobody can do anything to you that you're not okay with. Yeah,
and if the guy offends you, you just... exactly. You just block him.
Yeah, but nobody can physically do anything to you. It's impossible. That is the safest thing you can do. You don't even have to worry about risks when it comes to porn when you're filming with a partner. No.
Well, I mean, to be fair...
I know webcams sometimes have partner work,
To be fair, though, it was like a webcam house. So there was like a pimp or whatever doing that.
Yeah, but she was objecting to the sex part, not the pimp part.
Which is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, it's just like, I would get the pimp. That would make more sense to me. But... yeah, and pretty much her whole story is not her story, it's who her family is, which is boring.
That are like sexually liberated hippies or whatever.
Yeah, like her dad is some hippie, but who's really well known, and then her sister is in porn, but apparently they they lived with people who committed suicide, but her own character is just kind of, what? She's cute because she's Rachel McAdams, but I'm just kind of like,
Yeah. So, sexual stuff seems to be flowing through all the characters, except for, I was going to say Colin Farrell, but his wife was raped. And
yeah, he's kind of dealing with that sort of thing. I love the fact, though, that he's still so adamant about that's his son. He's like, I don't care if we're biologically related. He's my son. I took care of him.
When she threatened to take a paternity test, that was probably one of the most heartfelt scenes that I've seen, where he's just like, please don't. I don't want to know. Please don't. And, like, I felt really bad for him because, like, he needed that one thing. He needed to have that son.
Yeah. And his plights with being a single father are the most interesting and emotional parts of the show by a lot. By
which I'll be
a football field.
I'll be really frustrated if he goes, because he's the only character right now who's interesting. Plus the fucking great threat that he made.
Oh my god, yes.
Do you know?
Yes.
Do you remember what it was?
Oh man, I remember parts
of it. So you like bullying kids.
Oh, I'm trying to remember what it was, because I remember the part where he said, I'll beat up your dad and use his head to butt rape your mom or something like that.
Yeah.
He said butt rape, which was, like, to come out of Colin Farrell was just like, what?
Oh, I think it was the other way around. I think it was
your mom butt raped your dad. I don't know. It was fucking ridiculous though. But what I like about his character is he is a fuck up. He is a bad single dad, but he is not a deadbeat single dad. He gives a lot of shit about his kid. He just has other things that are getting in the way because he's not in good shape right now.
Right, and, the trope of the alcoholic cop.
Right, exactly. But he has other things going on, too. I think he has major rage issues that are playing a big part here.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that he does genuinely love his son so much, and what he wants more than anything else is to be with his son.
Yeah. And
that is awesome.
And Taylor Kitsch's character has rage issues. Remember when he beat up that gay guy?
There was also the driving scene.
Yeah, well, I thought it was interesting.
If you're on a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a blonde.
Well, sometimes riding a motorcycle. I think you. Okay, whatever.
He had that riding scene. How about that?
Yeah, where he's blind riding, and when he blind rides, and then he turns his lights on and freaks out. Then right after that, he sees a man who has had his eyes completely destroyed from some sort of acid.
Well, that, and he had his dick shot off.
Oh yeah, that was pretty graphic.
Yeah, that was pretty graphic, but so quick. I had to watch it. I rewound it 3 times because I kept missing it.
Really?
It was that short.
No, I don't think it was that short, but.
Well, I could see something there, but I couldn't see how graphic.
Oh.
I could be like, I kind of saw like a big hole.
Yeah.
And then I rewound it so I could see it in more detail. That was a lot of really good effect makeup work. That was I wanted to appreciate. I don't know. It was fucked up. More of just that sort of curiosity.
So if you're a special effects person, just know that there's going to be somebody who's going to look at your work in all of its glorious detail, even though it's a guy that, gets his dick blown off.
Yeah. So overall, I'm furiously underwhelmed.
No.
I can't wait for Justin Lin to leave, and maybe the opening theme song is subpar as well. Not the song, partially the song, but the song's okay, but the graphics are not nearly as interesting because they only took one part, like one idea from the original opening scene and just did that for the whole thing. They weren't more creative.
Yeah, because what I liked about the original was it had this atmosphere about it, and you had the guy like throwing his arms up in the air and like
with the fire and the church on him, and you had the stripper in the bikini body, and you had like the back of the chick with the antlers, and you had the faces and you had the bodies. You also had like cross imagery and car imagery, and like you had all these different visuals you were pulling from. And in this opening theme, all you had was the faces.
Yeah. Well, no, you do have some of the stuff from the city.
You have some of the bodies, and you have a shot of the city, and you have a shot of the forest.
And the intersection.
The intersection's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
like the best thing they've used so far is the intersection.
Well, that's a recurring motif that's going on in the show. So
yeah, to put it in a more metropolitan area. I think it was Vice had an article condemning this season because it said that except for the e-cig, it's a film noir and there's nothing modern or relevant to it. And I have to agree, but I don't condemn it the way they do, where I'm like, well, it's not entirely necessary. And the fact that they, for some fucking reason, thought it would be appropriate to put the harassment of Anita Sarkeesian in True Detective, the way that SVU did, was ridiculous. But they brought up things like the Black Lives Matter movement. That would have been a lot more interesting than what they're doing. I'll say that. That would have been much more interesting than what they're doing.
The show takes place in the future?
Ish.
No, it takes place in October.
I know, but that's
year.
Ish. It's not like 20 years in the future.
Right.
It's like very near future.
Yeah. But it does take place in the future, which I assume they were actually trying to make it for...
like a more relevant cause?
Well, they might have actually wanted the show to come out in the fall, but then they were pushed for the summer.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we waited a long time for True Detective because, like, originally True Detective came out in, like, January, right?
Yeah,
the first season.
It did. That's true, because we were watching it during the school year.
Yeah, so it was a little bit more than a year since the first season came out. So,
what are your final impressions?
My final impressions are, I'm still going to stick with the show. I'm interested in seeing where it goes. It does have the chance to redeem itself. There are only 6 episodes left, so...
Oh, really? Oh, God.
Yeah, 6 or 8.
Yeah.
You know,
I thought it was 8. I thought it was a 10 episode season.
Okay. So,
I thought. I'm not positive, though.
All right. Well, either way, it has an opportunity to redeem itself, especially getting away from Justin Lin. I think that might be a good thing. I really don't think that he has the competence yet to take on stuff. I think he needs to get comfortable with himself as a director before he takes on other projects because stick with what you're good at. Action, like that's fine, but True Detective is not an action show, and these past couple episodes don't signify any sort of competence in other types of direction. I did think it was interesting, the Hotline Miami thing at the end of the second episode where Colin Farrell got shot by the guy with a crow mask. Sorry, I thought of Hotline Miami. It's a video game where
with the bunny mask.
Well, you wear all kinds of masks in the game.
Oh.
Like, you put on a different mask and it gives you, like, powers, and you go into the room and you kill everybody that's there.
Oh.
And what I thought was funny, though, was you bust open doors and then you shoot people. And that's almost exactly what it is. Like, you come up behind people and shoot them. So it's like, guy walks into the door, bust, and then I hear the music of the death in Hotline Miami.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it totally felt like the character was a victim to Hotline Miami. I know, it's ridiculous. But okay. I thought it was kind of funny. That's the only weird thing other than the woman in milk. But that's actually an art piece.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, then you have the Guadalupe and with diamonds or whatever that you saw at the crime scene. But other than that, like, I really miss the cult feel of the last season. Like, the whole thing with the Yellow King and...
The Yellow King and the antlers. I mean, that was very specific, evocative imagery.
Yeah, and this season hasn't really had anything that has really stuck out to me. I mean, even the guy with the eyes and stuff like that really doesn't stick out to me as something that I'll remember for long.
No. Not really. I've already forgotten half the shit that happened to that guy that they found in the autopsy. I do remember the crotch shot, but that was about it. I forget all the other stuff they mentioned. He
had his eyes, like, burned out with, like...
No, I mean, I remember that part too, but there were some other things that happened I don't even remember.
Well, and he was a part of the business. Boring. He was a part of the business that Vince Vaughn was.
Right.
So apparently it's... And all of his money was left, so apparently it's trying to leave some message about, like, how this corporation is bad or something like that. It seems like somebody is out for justice.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn's character, and it's not because it's Vince Vaughn. Yeah, it's not because it's Vince Vaughn. It's just the character. The character's boring as shit, and I know that monologue was written very well, but all of the scenes that he's in, except for that one, were boring. Like, insanely boring.
Right, and what did you say the first time that we saw the first episode when he was drinking the cup of coffee?
Oh, I was like, he literally can't drink a cup of coffee and look natural. He really can't. No,
Vince Vaughn in any role that isn't a comedic role looks forced.
Yeah.
And I've done some directing, and I mean, not a lot, but I know when actors, and I got called out like one time in my directing class because I just couldn't get an actor to do what I wanted him to do. But he looked like he was acting.
Yeah, I do call certain people acting actors.
Yeah, it works. It can work for the stage, but film is a lot less forgiving for less than natural acting.
Right. I think you mean more than natural. Like unnatural.
Yes. Yeah, for unnatural acting.
But literally the first time you see Vince Vaughn, he's sitting at the bar with a cup of coffee, and I was like, I don't even buy that you're drinking a cup of coffee. I literally cannot believe that you are sitting there drinking a cup of coffee while you're doing that.
Yeah, and...
I'm so unforgiving towards Vince Vaughn. I really am. But I didn't expect it just out of the door be like, the very first thing you do, fuck you.
Right, and this season doesn't have the interrogation thing, so we're not trying to play guessing games or anything like that. It's playing in real time, which... That was one thing that I really liked about the last season. It's like, it's abandoning the format, which I get, like True Detective. Each season is going to be its own thing. But... Which
is redeeming it for me right now. That's the only reason I'm really sticking with this season, is because I know they're going to scrap it all and start from scratch next season.
Well, yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I would be okay if they scrapped it halfway during this show.
Yeah, me too.
Which seems like they might do that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. We will see.
Yeah.
So next we watched Mr. Robot, which is a really interesting show that is sort of in the anonymous vein of people, hackers starting a revolution. This show feels so relevant. Yeah. In a way that, like, shows don't feel. I mean, like, what are the most popular shows right now? Fucking Game of Thrones? I'm trying to think of what else.
Well, Hannibal, even though NBC is canceling their run of it.
Yeah, but, I mean...
They're looking for other distribution, though, which is good.
Right, but, Game of Thrones is a really popular show. Doctor Who is a really popular show.
Right.
And
Breaking Bad really might have been more relevant than a lot of shows that were
popular. Right. But I'm saying, like, the shows... Well, Mad Men was really popular, but now that's gone. But this show is really relevant in a way that TV shows aren't right now. Yeah. TV shows might be talking about things in worlds that don't exist, or kind of Never Time, where it takes place now, but it doesn't have any effect on our society, obviously, because it's fiction, but, like world events and stuff don't fit into the narrative. Now, what's interesting in this show is Anonymous doesn't exist in this show. Yeah. They have their own thing that's essentially anonymous.
Right.
And looks very much like, but I actually like the mask better, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. So the first episode was put online, and you can watch it now.
Yeah.
I believe it's available on Hulu. I think they took it off.
No, it's not.
Oh, no.
We searched it twice, and it's not on Hulu.
Right. It was put on Hulu, and then I guess they took it off, which I think is stupid.
They do that with shows, though.
I think it's stupid for the first episode. Like, I think every show should put their first episode so that everybody should watch it, especially when it's an episode this good.
Well, yeah, because if you put the first episode, you have a hook. People are going to be more willing to spend money to gain access if you make the first one free. Even Amazon gets that.
Yeah, well, it is on Amazon for free right now, so you can watch it on Amazon. We'll put a link in the descriptions.
It was on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it was on YouTube, but I don't believe it's on YouTube anymore.
Yeah. Which,
I mean, it's a show about hackers. I'm just saying, people will find a way to watch it, especially your target audience. So make it available, or else you will get it hacked. That, and if you cancel the show, be prepared, USA, because you're probably going to get hacked. If you fuck up, USA, be prepared because you're probably going to get hacked. And if you don't do those two things, you're probably still going to get hacked.
I'll say that this was a show I was not expecting to get. I am not technologically savvy. I know what goes on in the world, but I am not a part of that. I don't have Facebook on my phone. Like, I'm not technologically savvy at all. I don't really get a lot of that. I'm not a part of that sort of culture. I'm so fucking sick of internet movies. You know, it just has no appeal to me. I get into this show. It has a huge amount of appeal to me, but I can follow everything that's going on. And it doesn't feel like it's talking down to me or like explaining shit to me really overtly. But I still get it.
Well, yeah, and one of the things I like about the show is I grew up knowing a little bit about the stuff. Granted, I'm not, that tech savvy.
More than me.
I know the language that they're speaking, but I choose not to delve in certain areas and that people do. But I do know about them, like Tor networks and...
I know enough stuff. Like when they were talking about Linux, I could get why that was funny, because Linux fucking rules. I'm not tech savvy enough to actually use it. Right.
But, so the first episode came out online, and it really blew me away. I wasn't expecting it because I saw some promotional stuff for it, and I recognized the actor, and I was like, okay, this looks interesting.
And the name, let's face it.
Yeah, the name is lame. It's a great show, but the name, if you don't know what it's about, you just say, hey, have you heard of Mr. Robot? And people are like, oh.
Domo arigato, Mr. Robot.
Exactly, that's the first thing that they're going to think of.
Yeah, that was a really bad choice.
Yeah.
I get that you can't use anonymous. I get that you have to call it something else. But maybe at least something that's a little bit more evocative of that word in its actual meaning of anonymity,
Right. Well, they've illustrated it to some points.
No, but I'm saying in the show's title, you could have a word that's similar. Or something like that. I don't know. Just not Mr. Robot. It's so corny.
Or you could call the show Hackers, but
that's
then
kind of a lame title too.
Yeah, it's kind of a lame title and kind of a lame movie if you know anything about hacking. Anything about hacking would teach you that Hackers is total bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to know that much.
Everything except for this show and a small handful of others is bullshit.
Yeah, the
hacking
girl
always looks like bullshit.
The girl with the dragon tattoo, the Swedish version, portrayed hacking very well. The new one, they were doing it with Max, which I'm like,
can you even do that? Yeah. But hacking is one of those things like playing video games where, if you don't know anything about it at all, you can buy into. But if you know even a little bit about it, you can tell when they're not doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, in most contexts, they use hacking like it's a fucking video game.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes literally a fucking video game.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you've seen these shows, but like two people will start typing at the same time, and that just means they're hacking better. It doesn't fucking work that way. Anyways, or you watch.
The show does it right.
Yeah. So, where to begin?
Let's start with the main character. How about that? Because this is so centered on this one guy. He is the show.
Yeah, so
he's handling it very well. Really.
Yeah, and I've seen him in a couple different things. Most recently I saw him in a movie called Short Term 12, where that was about people at halfway houses. Not halfway houses. What do you like group homes where people...
But not halfway houses?
Group homes where like kids go like after they're like being abused and stuff like that until they turn 18.
Yeah,
so
foster care sort of stuff.
Foster care. Yeah, so he was in that, and he was a really awkward character, and I mean, this actor looks awkward, which is perfect for this show.
Well, yeah, two things. One, he is carrying the weight of the whole show on him very well. And two, I think the first thing I actually said out loud about the character was, he looks so fucking weird. It's awesome.
Yeah, he
looks so much like a real fucking person.
Yeah, I do like the bug-eyed nature because like the wide-eyed kind of look of Elliot really kind of gives it the show this unique look. And
it's not even wide-eyed though, because like his eyes are wide but not up and down, like width-wise, which is very different and weird. He has like these really big slanty eyes, sort of, except for bug-eyed. It's cool. It's not like wide-eyed and awe or childlike. His face just looks fucking weird. It's awesome. I think he's cute though, but I don't.
Yeah, he's a handsome actor.
Yeah, he's very handsome. I'm not saying like, oh, he's ugly. He's just weird looking. He looks like a person. He doesn't look like, you know, a model in Photoshop.
Yeah, and you know, he's either Italian or Latino, which that's cool that they have, you know, somebody who isn't directly
a handsome white man.
Yeah, blonde hair, blue eyes, or, you know.
Yeah. Someone who's playing a nerd, and it's like, dude, chicks would be all up over you. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody in the show, except Christian Slater, looks very much like a normal person, though, because even his co-worker, best friend that he has a crush on is really cute, but not in a model-looking way.
It's probably toned down makeup.
Yeah, like I bet if she goes on the red carpet, she looks like
and also the hacker girl that woman is super hot, but they play her makeup down so much.
Yeah. Well, I like that. Nobody except for Christian Slater, just because that's who he is. He's one of those acting actors. They all look like people, like real people. I like it. Everything feels very. Not just even like they're trying to look real, it just feels natural.
Right. And,
I don't get that enough.
Right. One of the things I also like is the show has an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
First and foremost. And, the narration kind of reminds me of Dexter. It's kind of like, what if Dexter were a hacker? Mm-hmm. And the opening scene where he, hacks into, I think... Wasn't his name like Ron or something like that? He had like changed his name, the Indian guy.
Oh yeah, that's right. He changed his name to Ron. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and he had gigabyte speed, you know, which doesn't really exist yet. But
in America anyway.
Oh yeah, America has really slow internet.
Yeah, we have like the worst internet in the world because it makes big corporations money to throttle our speed.
Yeah, go to South Korea or Japan and you'll realize how slow American internet is. Yeah. And you're paying money for it, too.
You're paying a lot more money than other countries because in a lot of other countries, that shit's free.
Oh, well, there are services and stuff like that.
No, of course there are, but, you know. You can get better free access than what you pay for in America.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could go to a bar. Just a regular bar in like a foreign country, and there will be tons of people there, and I can download an entire show. And this is 4 years ago. I could download a TV show on my phone. You know what? That's like a gig because it would be high def and stuff.
Yeah.
I could do that in about 20 minutes, and that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, our internet is slow as shit. Yeah. So, anyways, but he does have access, and he's distributing child pornography, which, yeah, red flag, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, you deserve everything that's coming.
Not just for having that, but for distributing it specifically.
And he comes in with like this whole like Batman thing, and he's like, "No, I've actually hacked you," and stuff like that. But I'm like trying to get over my personal. Yeah. Because he's not a very sociable person, and then the thing that I love is he like walks around, like he just walks back after that, and he's like, "Well, that's the one thing you got wrong about me. I don't give a shit about money."
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, this show does two things that I don't dislike as ideas, but they tend to be misused. And this show is really selling me on these two things. A lot. One is the internal monologuing. I get it as a tool, but most of the time it makes me cringe and bores me to death. This one, it's really fucking working, mostly because he is talking directly to the audience. Very specifically, the viewer sitting in the chair. He is not the dummy who doesn't know what's going on, so the audience can figure it out.
Well, that's something Dexter did as well.
Yeah.
So.
But I like the way that his monologuing is working, but part of it too is I like his character's voice a lot. Not the actor's voice, but I like the character's personality. I like hearing all the shit that goes on in his head, surprisingly enough. And the other thing is a character with mental issues. Normally that's something, idea-wise, I would really enjoy, but it tends to be misused a lot, and it's not something that ever sells me. And the therapy scenes in the movie, or in the show, are really what brings out how unreliable, like you said, his monologuing is.
Well, and I think this show is actually as accurately as a TV show can, portraying a paranoid schizophrenic very well.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know that about him.
Yeah.
After the therapy interviews. We don't know exactly what caused him to be forced into therapy, because that is something that was said.
I think it was work mandated or something.
Yeah, he probably had a freak out at work or something like that. It is known that he doesn't let people touch him and other things, which is really interesting about Mr. Robot. He's always like rubbing his back and stuff. So
yeah, that's always really weird to me why he's not really withdrawing from that.
Well, I've heard some people theorize, and the first time I saw it, I was like, well, this is like obviously a Tyler Durden situation where Mr. Robot doesn't exist. He is Mr. Robot. He is Tyler Durden.
But that's been debunked with the second episode.
Has it?
Yes, because we have seen him talk to and interact with other people now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's officially made contact with other people besides the main character. So, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, you might be right. Or else they're doing the Tyler Durden thing where some of the stuff doesn't even make sense. How he's spoilers for Fight Club. How Ed Norton is communicating with people, but it's actually Brad Pitt.
Yeah, I mean it could be, but that really makes no sense in this context. It didn't really make sense in Fight Club either. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
So, I'm really interested to see where the show goes. It's very promising. Mm-hmm. And it actually feels dangerous.
One thing that I'm wondering about the show is just how much money did they pay out just to make the references they make? Because the references they make are so insanely topical that it doesn't even feel like it'll be dated in like a few months. Really, it doesn't. And they bring up a lot of footage. They mention a lot of companies. They use a lot of logos. All the stuff you have to pay a lot of money for. I wonder how much of the budget goes into just what they can use on the show, because I was shocked how much stuff they mention in every episode.
Well, I will be shocked if this isn't the most successful USA show.
USA has some very successful shows, though.
They do have some very successful shows, but I haven't watched any of them.
I've seen quite a few, actually.
Okay, which is not to say that, like...
I will say this. I think it's been a while since they had a bunch of really popular shows.
Right. I mean, they had, what, Burn Notice?
They had Burn Notice, Monk, White Collar, what...
all those are about, like, rich white people that I don't care about.
The one that had that chick from Coupling in it, it was, Leverage. They had Leverage. I don't know if that one's still ongoing. But the promising thing is that they're like the anti-Fox. Most of the shows that they announce do stay through for a really long time. I think that's part of the reason we haven't heard of new shows from USA for a bit. Although I'm not I don't really follow USA, so it could be that shit's coming out and I just don't know about it.
The good news is after the first episode with the ratings and everything, this show has been renewed for a second season already.
From one episode.
From one episode, which is pretty insane.
That's fantastic when we're in a position where 50% of shows that have a pilot and a first season get discontinued. 50% is a ridiculous amount. Well,
I also think the big issue is you have conflicting time things because everybody's trying to fucking make a Sunday slot. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. People are going to fucking watch Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead. If you have something that conflicts with Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead, your show's most likely going to fucking fail. Just saying. They were really smart to put the show out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, what fucking show comes out on Wednesday? Plus, what do you fucking do on Wednesday?
Yeah.
So, yeah, perfect fucking time to have a TV show.
Yeah, but the other thing, too, is our rating system is so antiquated for television because...
And who the fuck even watches TV anymore? I'm sure some of you probably still watch TV, but like...
But the growing trend is abandoning your cable bundle for Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime. Because you can buy those 3 services and watch only the shows you actually watch for far cheaper than a fucking cable bundle where you're buying 600 plus channels and you watch 3 channels.
Right, and other than legal services that offer you anything that you want to watch.
Right. But the other thing, too, is that the rating system is so fucking antiquated because the way the rating system works is that it monitors that hour time slot and it gathers how many people are watching it on television or are TiVoing it. If you're recording it and you're not actually there watching it, that counts as a view. Well, that is bullshit because most people don't watch it when it comes out.
Right.
Video on demand also counts into that.
Do they count the iTunes? iTunes downloads?
That's the thing. If you look at the rating system, the way that it works for radio, yes, radio play counts, but CD sales count. What do you call it? The Spotify and the other one that's like Spotify, Pandora and iTunes. All those different systems, every time you listen to a song on any one of those systems, that gets counted into the rating system, and that's what makes a pop chart the number 1 hit, is how many times it's being played across all these different platforms.
Well, the music industry figured it out. Why the hell doesn't the film industry figure it out? Oh, yeah, because it's run by fucking old white dudes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've said old white dudes, white people, all that kind of stuff, but here's the thing, like, it's all mixed. Everybody's mixed.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially with, like, the music industry,
mm-hmm.
they wouldn't function if it just was in the mentality of, like, rich white people, because, like...
Well, it wouldn't function if it was only working on radio play, because radio is like television, where, like, you
who
listen
the fuck
to it
listens
sometimes?
To radio? I mean, like, people listen to fucking iTunes, people download podcasts, people go on YouTube, people use Spotify, people use Pandora.
Even when you're in your car, you plug in your iPhone into your car system and you play it from your own musical library. You don't really turn on the radio.
You turn on the radio when, like, sometimes you turn on the radio, but, like, radio is like a dying medium, and most people have switched to online services.
But the problem with television right now is that we're in the situation where we have the best television programming we've ever had in terms of
this
The Walking
is
Dead.
Beyond the golden age of television right now.
Right. Well, the issue is that we have, you know, the great shows of Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and Walking Dead and all that. Now every channel wants to make their own Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, whatever. So really, a lot of quality of really shitty channels is really going up. A lot of very original content is being put out. But people don't know what to watch. People have too many shit that they're watching now. People don't watch television.
Right, and Netflix fucking proved this, too. People marathon shows. People watch a show in a fucking weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So,
exactly.
So here's... You have to fucking change the model, because people might get around to it, but we don't live in a system where that works for a show, that can save a show. It's like oh, well, you have to watch it and such. Like, and that's stupid. Like, cord cutting is something that's happening. People are not watching TV because why the fuck should I have to watch a show at this time? Like, oh, by the way, we have this and this planned. Oh, wait, but I got this TV show.
And what about, live events that mess up your TV programming? That sort of thing.
Exactly. Too. I mean, I'll admit, I'm not into sports, so why the fuck should I have TV?
Right. Well, I mean, you have a show that you watch normally, and then, oh, there's a baseball game on that night, so your program's going to be pushed off to the side and start 5 minutes into the episode or whatever.
Or, which I did actually watch the second episode on TV. Like, you're watching TV, and sometimes the commercials look so similar to the show that, like, you wind up for a second actually thinking that the commercial is another part of the show. So that gets annoying, too. Yeah,
it's true.
And there are way too many fucking commercials and TV shows anyways.
But now we actually have so much good product being pushed out there that's not being consumed. So we get to the point where a lot of shows, or a lot of channels, are taking the one show, maybe the two shows, that have really poor numbers, but a high percentage of all the shows on their channel, and pushing those through just long enough to get sold to Netflix and to get a DVD release, and then chopping everything else. And it sucks. It really sucks. We've gone from, I think it was like somewhere between an 85% to 90% success rate for television programs to a 50%. That's a giant drop.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah, it is. We'll post a link in the description from the article that I read that from, because I think I'm misremembering some stats. And also, why put out info out there that or you're trying to quote without actually putting the source so people can see it themselves. So that will be in the info box. But back to Mr. Robot. Part of the reason why it could be really successful is that they are immediately trying to do video on demand, trying to reach outside of cable. That's really fucking helping it. It can only help it because at least if it's not helping their rating numbers, it's going to get their viewership up enough to where they can have a fan base.
Right, and here's the thing. Most people want to watch shows legally.
Yes.
But I will say that there is a problem with iTunes, Amazon, and such, where they're charging a lot for a show.
$2 an episode?
Yeah, $2 an episode. Granted, you can keep it, but like, why can't you let people like watch it and then like it goes away from their feed? Like, why not like say, okay, 50 cents for an episode? Granted, I still think that's a lot, but 50 cents for an episode, you get to watch it once and then it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to charge per episode, I don't think it should be more than 50 cents. And then maybe throw a couple of fucking commercials in.
Yeah. Yeah, Hulu got ridiculous about their
Hulu should just make their shit free because they have enough advertisements to fucking...
No, they do have a free one. There's a free Hulu and then there's a Hulu Plus.
Yeah, but the Hulu Plus has tons of fucking advertisements too.
No, it doesn't. That's actually the difference is Hulu Plus has little to no advertising. And then Hulu normally has about 5 commercial breaks per half-hour episode or hour-long episode, and each commercial break has 2 or 3 advertisements. Some of their advertisements are like 180 seconds.
Yeah, that's the thing that I hate about like modern day like stuff like YouTube and all this stuff. It used to be that the rule was an advertisement couldn't be longer than 30 seconds. There are advertisements that literally come on YouTube that are like 10 fucking minutes. I'm not fucking kidding.
Yeah. And there are some that you can't skip that are still like 2 minutes.
Oh, well, all you gotta do is just fucking reload the page and then usually you can do that. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say something that I shouldn't have? Well, you're watching Mr. Robot, so you're a rebel as is. And I do think that this show is going to... I do feel that this show is trying to provoke something.
I think it's really interesting how it's not getting so involved with the cyber stuff, though. It could. It very easily could, but there is enough real world shit going on that does directly relate to the internet stuff, and they work symbiotically. It feels very balanced in that way, which is kind of funny considering the character. He is trying to balance himself, but he's kind of a chaotic personality, which is cool.
Elliot Alderson, I think is his name.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's kind of funny because he has the hoodie, so, I think of Elliot from E.T.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Oh. The one thing about the show that I hate because it's too fucking good. I hate it because it's so fucking good I want it to exist. And it doesn't, and that's why I hate it. Is they introduce this idea that they're gonna hack the government and erase all these files, whatever, so that way then people's debts are erased. All their student debts and mortgage debts and homeowner debts and whatever the fuck. It's all gonna be gone. And they can start over and the money they make will be for them. Holy shit! Oh my god, I want that to happen so bad. I know that's illegal and that's horrible, but really, just this idea that, you don't do anything, but then somehow your student loans can just go gone. That's like the dream that you don't want to wake up from.
Yeah. Another interesting thing for me is I like how the show has introduced that there's a company called E Corp, but he hears it as Evil Corp. And anytime anybody says it, it's Evil Corp. I think that might hurt the show for the television watchers.
Right.
Because they'll see it as cheesy if they haven't watched the first episode.
Right, because in the first episode, he does have a bit of dialogue that says, every time I see E Corp, all I can hear is Evil Corp, and then you took that and you made it literal. On the other hand, Louis, the show, works very much on that sensibility, and it never explains it to the audience.
Oh, you're talking about like his wife and stuff?
Well, I'm saying things like, you could say out loud, I was sleeping in bed and the garbage truck came outside my window and it was so loud it was like they were in my apartment. But Louis doesn't explain anything like that. All you see is he's sleeping in bed and these garbage men bust through his window and start clanking together garbage can lids on his bed. But you get that that's not real. He's exaggerating for comedic effect without giving you an exposition about it. So I feel like if it can work for Louis for a full 4 seasons and do really well, having never explained it once, then Mr. Robot can probably get away with Evil Corp,
Right. This show is definitely for a smarter audience, which I'm really happy about, because this show never once does it feel like it's dumbing down to an audience. Like, even when they're using technical jargon, I love that thing where the woman says, "What's a rootkit?" Now, if a woman in the tech industry does not know what a rootkit is, especially when she's working on cybersecurity, yeah, she should lose her fucking job. But
who said rootkit? It was the Crush, right? The blonde chick.
Yeah, yeah, and then the guy said it's like getting raped by a guy with a giant dick. Yeah,
she got very upset by that.
Well, yeah, everybody would.
That was funny.
Yeah, but I mean, well, not everybody, but yeah.
It was 3:00 in the morning, and they were all tired. Whatever.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny though that he said that, and she was just like, "Dude," he's like, sorry." That was a fun bit of interaction to me.
Yeah. So, yeah, the interactions are really interesting in the show. One of the funniest ones was when his boss just tells him he's gay, and then like it's like supposed to be like this huge like opening up, and then Elliot's just like, okay, which is literally how I feel when people like open up to me about that stuff. Which I'm not trying to be rude. It's just like, you're gay. Congratulations.
Right.
Like, tell me who you are as a person, because that's what I care more about.
Right. Well, I mean, they at least kind of.
Granted, I'm older, so you know, I get that some people are younger, and yeah, I get it.
Right, but I mean, we kind of live. Well, you and I specifically, because we're in a liberal arts school in a major metropolitan area, we live in a society in our own specific circles.
Right, in our own circle, if people tell us you're gay, it's like, really, that's fascinating. You know, I actually heard this story about 5 times today, but like, please embellish. I care.
Well, I was actually going to say something else. we live in a specific society where I've done this all the time. I don't tell people shit. I don't have like a coming out for everybody I meet, but I'll be talking, and if it comes up in conversation, you know, oh yeah, I dated this chick once, you know, whatever, or you know, I'll come out and they'll put it together without me having to say that, you know, I like everybody. It doesn't matter. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody will say anything to me, and maybe occasionally they'll be like, "So, are you bi?" You know, just to sort of confirm. Whatever, that's fine. There's literally nothing wrong with saying that. But half the time people understand and they move on because it's not important. It's not. Part of it too is, I mean, I'm a bi woman. Nobody really cares. The worst I've ever gotten, and I'm not saying this is everyone, this is my personal experience only, but the worst I have gotten for that specifically is dudes saying, "So you'd be cool with a threesome, right?" That's not so bad.
Yeah, so we got really off topic.
No, because it was the scene, because he sort of suffixed it, and he was like, I know that was awkward, but I'm going through this thing with my partner. My partner wants me to be open. I'm trying something. You know. So that kind of made a lot of sense for his character, and it was cool. But I loved Elliot's reaction where he was just like, okay, it's cool.
But then he also says, like, you know, that's the thing about us tech people, like, we lose interest. So.
Yeah.
I like the fact that this season, this second episode, really broke free from what you would expect, which is that it's like supporting this anonymous mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of the stuff Mr. Robot said was like fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, like conspiracy theory, all that kind of stuff, which I get it. There's legitimate reasons to be afraid and stuff like that, but like when you start thinking about like blowing up buildings and stuff like that, that's when you get into, you know, a la Akbar stuff. So, well,
to be as fair as possible, I agree with you. If you're talking about blowing up buildings, that is too fucking far. But to give a little bit of defense, they were also coming up with plans on ways to evacuate the building before they blow it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they're trying to destroy property and not human life.
Yeah.
Even if you think destroying property is wrong, I think most people would agree that destroying property and saving human life in the process, you know, to very specifically making sure humans are out of harm's way, is morally better than blowing up a building when you know people are in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still ridiculous, though. But we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, we'll also see how injured Elliot is. Or did he fall in the trash? Or
he fell in the trash, which I was just kind of like, well, A, you kind of robbed the scene of any tension, but B, like, dude, Christian Slater, what a dick.
Well, he did exactly what his father did.
Yeah, exactly. He pushed him. But yeah. I was still just like, dude, Christian Slater, why are you such a fucking asshole?
Unless it's the Tyler Durden thing.
No, I'm still just like, why are you such an asshole?
Yeah. It's interesting. So, let us know what you think. You can contact us at allwalksofilm@gmail.com.
Or
you can also put
comments, because then everybody can join in on the conversation.
Yeah, you can do that. You can also go onto our Facebook page, which is All Walks of Film.
Yeah.
Or you can contact me through Twitter at Ren Mulligan. Also,
I forgot to, past couple episodes, I really have to plug in Jacob Dean.
Yay!
He does the music for our stuff, and it is absolutely awesome. He also did the music for the short film that I worked on, because I actually make films too. Torn. It's
on the channel.
Yeah, so check it out. Support him. Support us. And also check out the Bcast if you're like interested in this stuff. We have a friend named Mallory who is over at the Bcast, and they talk about B movies and then whatever they want to.
Yeah, and she's actually going to be joining us at Godzilla Fest. So we'll be attending together, but also the three of us and one or two other special guests. We'll all get together and do a podcast or two about kaiju.
Right.
Fuck yeah.
And also, I'm probably going to make another video saying this, but if you don't get that one, please tell me what your favorite kaiju is. Because I'm going to start giving a list of kaiju that people like that listen to us.
It would be fantastic if you made in the same style of your top 5, time travel movies and whatever. If you did sort of a Watch Mojo fan-influenced voting thing of top 5 kaiju, that would be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, so encourage other people to put in, because I would love to do it, but I would like to pull from a large pool.
Oh, you should do a voting option on your Facebook page.
Yeah,
you can do
I'll
that,
do
right?
that.
Yeah, cool.
So I'll give a list of kaiju.
Mm-hmm.
Choose which ones you like.
You'll also put in an option for include your own, right?
Right.
Okay, cool.
And I'll probably make a video just shortly saying, hey, vote for your favorite kaiju. Anyways, thanks for listening, and we'll be back shortly.
Yeah.